What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 46, and we start season off on the back of our turnaround victory over Newcastle United for our third victory in four to start the season off, and our first one at the City Ground with our first ever Champions League game with Nottingham Forest. Back in the late 1970s, they won the European Cup back-to-back, but since then, no Champions Leagues, of course. But now Forest back in the big time. And our Champions League group opener was going to be away at the Nou Camp. Yep, tough start here. As we know, Barcelona this season knocked out of the group stages for the second year running under Xavi this season. We beat them in the Super Cup, this the Champions League group opener. And I was really looking forward to it as well, because the best thing about this game was that, well, you saw our group. We got Nice, we got Rangers, and these guys, Barcelona as well. You know, I would say this would be the toughest game of the six. Away against the current holders of the Champions League in the save, on their turf, or in their backyard, I should say. I would say this would be the toughest game of the six. So it's good to get it out of the way early. Do you know what I mean? Because if you get a result, it's a bonus. If you lose it, that's alright, because the toughest game has already been played. The next five, theoretically, probably shouldn't be as tough. So I've got to say, like, when you have like a start to a season in the Premier League or a top tier European league, or the start to a season in a European group, honestly, I know it might seem a bit daunting if your first like 3 games, like in the Premier League for example, are, I don't know, Manchester City, Liverpool and Arsenal for example, but honestly, like it's kind of good if you have that, because yes, it could be a troubling start for you, but you get it out of the way early, and you know after you get past a really tough opening, games are going to get, or they should get, a little bit simpler. So if you lose the first game, or you lose the first 3 games, it's alright, because you know the games are going to get a little bit easier for you, and a good learning experience as well. I talk about a lot how, like, you know, what's necessarily difficult for you isn't always bad for you. And I think, you know, you really learn when you're challenged. And that game there against Barcelona, I'll be honest here, we won the Super Cup totally undeserved, but we still won it anyway. There, Taiwo scored the opener, though Barca levelled it in what was a really uneventful game, to be fair, in a 1-1 draw at the Nou Camp. You know, what is difficult for you isn't necessarily bad for you. And I genuinely believe that, you know, for moments of growth, the best way to accelerate growth and get meaningful growth and genuine growth, in my opinion, is to really challenge yourself, you know. Now, if you're playing FIFA, and I'm relating this to FIFA, if you're playing FIFA and you don't really want to play the game that way, that's totally fine. You know, I talk about it, like, all the time, seriously. Like, you know, you play the game however you want. I've mentioned before that my brother is a massive football fan, massive Manchester United fan. He loves FIFA though, because, you know, he works a lot of hours, he works a very high demanding job. He doesn't really get the time to play much. He's got his own career mode save, you know, and my brother, you know, likes to play on semi-pro. And, you know, some people would say semi-pro, lol. And, you know, he will sign, you know, Mbappe and Messi with Manchester United and so on and so forth in the first couple of years, you know. And some people would say, oh, that's so unrealistic, how can that be fun? But it's fun to him. Like, it's fun to him. He enjoys playing the game that way. He doesn't want to challenge himself. He works a lot of hours, he works a really stressful job. He doesn't want to have to challenge himself when he comes on for the 1 hour he gets to play, or maybe 2 hours a week. That's generally all my brother gets the time to play. It's like an hour or 2 per week. He doesn't want to be challenged on Ultimate and get spanked 4-0 by the AI because he's not at the same level as some people are. He just wants to have fun and relax. So, you know, he wants to play the game however he wants. And I recommend that to anyone. Like, you know, don't think there's only one way to play the game, because there isn't. You play the game however you want, man. But if you do want to improve your ability on FIFA, the one tip I would recommend is very simple. Play at the highest level. Like, play at the highest level. Challenge yourself as much as you can, because believe me, you don't really learn how to be a better player when you're spanking the AI 4-5-0 every game. If you just want to play and have fun, and that's how you want to have fun, by all means do it. Like, seriously, don't let anyone tell you that you're playing the game wrong, because you're not. There's no right or wrong way to play the game. But if you do want to improve your FIFA ability, then I do recommend challenge yourself as much as possible. That goes for your opponents and also the difficulty of the AI as well. Anyway, on the back of the draw of Barcelona, wow, we'd had a decent start to the season with 3 wins and 4 and the Super Cup in the cabinet as well. But this is what I didn't want to see. No wins in our last 3 games, a goalless draw at Stamford Bridge, and then a 2-0 loss to Fulham in the EFL Cup 4th round. I didn't really mind that, to be fair, though, because we've got bigger fish to fry this year. We're in the Champions League. I don't care about the EFL Cup, so going out early could be a blessing in disguise because it's one less fixture to worry about in the calendar. But for our following game, this was a big one here. Newly promoted Burnley at the City Ground. I've been poor at home this year. We beat Newcastle, but I didn't play well. I had to come from behind to win it. And now Burnley, company side, back in the big time, at home here at the City Ground. I was a little bit nervous. Tony has only got one goal to start the season off. Well, thankfully, he got his second early on as we made it 1-0. But when Burnley went down to 10 men, I was thinking, all right, okay, we should now dominate here and win this game comfortably. Oh my goodness. 21 minutes on the clock. Burnley a goal down, a man down, but Sherlinov makes it 1-1, and the Clarets are on level terms. Newly promoted, away from home, a man down, and they find their leveller. It is 1-1, and I'd played incredibly poorly. 5 minutes on the clock, still tied. Oh man. Hero. 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 I don't know who's my biggest hero ever. I don't know who's my best hero ever. But I know who my best goal scorer is ever. The shocker. Ivan Toney. Slow start to the season, but I mentioned before with the shocker, there's been very few moments in my career mode saves where he's gone into a bit of a mini goal drought. Well, when I needed him the most, he picked it up for me. I had an abysmal game against Burnley. The stats were very deceptive. I was really poor. I struggled to break the Clarets down. Strong defence that Vincent Kompany would have been proud of. Maybe not the red card, but even so, I was awful in that game. Absolutely awful with just the final attack of the match. Curtis Jones rolls through the shocker, under pressure, tight angle, broke his mini goal drought in the first half and wins the game with 4 minutes to go. What a moment. Goals 2 and 3 for the shocker. And yep, that's that old saying, isn't it? Form is temporary, class is permanent. Tony bails me out. That would have been an embarrassing drop points and slip up there at home to Burnley. Fortunately, I'm bailed out by old reliable Ivan Toney. Thank God for that. Final game of today's episode, match day 2, Champions League group stage. And oh my goodness gracious me, we'd had a decent start to the season. 3 wins in 4 in the Premier League. Really good beginning. Massive win away at the Emirates, 3-0. But now, what is going on? Scrape through against 10 men, Burnley at home, and now in our first Champions League game at the City Ground, taking on Nice. Well, I said they're a decent team, 4.5 star. I said they're the third strongest team in this group behind us and Barca. We're a goal down early and could have been 2-0 had it not been for Dean. From kickoff, I just thought, right, I don't even want to see the replay, just get straight up the other end and get back on level terms, which we would. Top scorer in the Europa League last season, Taiwo, missed the final through injury, but first game in the Champions League group stage, what does he do? Scores the opener against Barcelona. Second game in the Champions League group stage, scores our leveller, sets up the goal to put us in front for the first time. Taiwo is a European striker. It's 2-1 Forest, and in the second half I was thinking, right, I cannot surrender this lead like we did on match day 1. We had our first win in the Champions League here. Big opportunity against Nice. We lead by a goal. Let's get us a cushion in the second half, and we got it. 20 minutes after the restart. What a start of the season for Curtis Jones. My player of the year so far early on. It's 3-1, not in the Forest, and then 3 minutes later, a chance to make it 4, which we would do. Lovely little build up there. Stepping in from the left-hand side. Fred finds Taiwo. Oh, and I love him. Seriously, don't bother playing this guy on the weekend, Doxy boy. Just save him for those midweek European nights. 3 goals in the Champions League already in 2 games. This guy is unbelievable. Do you know what's not unbelievable? My ability passing out from the back this year. We're leading by 3. The game seems done with 20 minutes to go, and we're surely going to celebrate our first Champions League victory. And then I just absolutely bottled it. From 4-1 up to 4-3 after surrendering possession inside my area twice. And thank God I didn't do it again. Yep, thank God for that. Anderson, Talisca and Camelo with 2 goals in 4 minutes. Literally gift wrapped it to them. I handed them the goals. Thankfully, in the end, it did come in vain. Oh my God. I'm not going to lie. I was bricking it in that final few minutes. Thankfully, held on for the win. And, well, it looked as though it was going to be a dominant first victory in the Champions League. I almost surrendered it completely. But we got the win, thank God. Back-to-back victories for the first time since the start of the campaign. 4-3 the final score, and Forest are off the mark for wins in the Champions League group stage. It's been a decent start, but there's no doubt about it. There are definitely some things I need to tighten up. We're going to go further in the FA Cup this year, be in a title race, and reach semi-finals of the Champions League. Namely, my defending. It's awful. But that will end today's episode of Career Mode, guys. Massive thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you had, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you for the next episode of Career Mode very soon.